Welcome to Mind Matters Body Benefits. I am doing a series on reversing diabetes, reversing type 2 diabetes, and I have my reversing type 2 diabetes journal that I'm going through along with that. I have some great news today. Welcome to my channel. Mind Matters Body Benefits. We're not just going to be talking about physical health. We're talking about diabetes right now, but we're going to go into brain health, mental health, and how everything is intimately involved with each other. We can't just focus on one thing without bringing everything else along. We're humans. We're all in one package. So back to the type 2 diabetes. My name is Linda Todd, and I am not a medical professional, so please check with your medical professional before taking any advice. I am, however, someone who has had certain brushes with health issues, which we'll get into more. I have been in a coma. I've had encephalitis. I've had a brain injury. I've dealt with gestational diabetes. I've dealt with, I have 5 children, and stuff happens. I've been pregnant. I've had healthy babies. I've had a sick baby. So I have had lots of interaction with medical professionals, not enough to become a medical professional myself, of course, but I feel like I know a couple of things that I would love to share with you. And I've also learned through all of it, hope is the strongest medicine. And so I am here to encourage you to always have hope. Back to type 2 diabetes, have hope. As I talked about in my last video, I had seen a doctor who was very sure that there was nothing at all I did to get me into this state of health. Therefore, there was nothing at all I could do to get me out. And I don't know about you, but I know that that is blatantly false information. And please don't believe that if that's what you're told. Please have hope. And there's so many reasons to have hope. So if you're diagnosed with diabetes, your blood sugars are too high, and that is a symptom of diabetes. That's not the cause of diabetes. However, that is a symptom. That's a very clear symptom. And blood sugars are elevated most quickly, most easily by your carbohydrate intake. And that's why you hear so much talk about carb count, carb gut, because carbs are not your friend. And certainly if you are pre-diabetic, or you have actually been diagnosed with diabetes, or you're afraid you might get it because of, you have an unhealthy relationship with food, whether that's a bad schedule, you just grab fast food as you go. If you're not diabetic yet, you still should listen to this, because maybe you're further down that road than you realize, or maybe we can get you off that road before you end up with a diagnosis. So one interesting way that I find is helpful to look at carbs, even though maybe it's not technically true, it's kind of true. You, me, we are allergic to carbs. And all I mean by that, it's not a medical assessment, not a diagnosis. What it is just a way of looking at it, meaning that we know that if we're allergic to peanuts, peanuts could kill us. Carbs, when we're allergic to carbs, we're not going to drop into anaphylactic shock when we eat carbs. That's not what I mean. However, that sustained high blood sugar, that continuing to load carbs in our body, that sustained high blood sugar erodes us from the inside out, and it can break down our cardiovascular system so that we can have heart attacks, stroke. We can end up not getting good circulation to all parts of our body, and our feet can end up losing out on circulation, and then they die, and then they need to be amputated before they take the rest of you. So it's a serious issue, and I want you to understand that. But there is hope. As long as you are alive and watching this video, there's hope for you to improve the situation. I don't know if you will end up completely reversing it for yourself. I know it's worth a shot because at least you can make it a better situation for your health. Now, again, I'm not a doctor, but I do encourage you, if you are in a state where your blood sugars are too high, sustained for too long, and the risk of damage is also high, take your diabetes medication. But be careful, do your own research, do some background check, look up the medication, understand how it affects you, and understand if that's a risk you're willing to take, because there are many different medications that affect your body in different ways. So please read up on what you've been prescribed, and if you don't feel good about it, you still want to get those blood sugars under control, but talk to your doctor and say, hey, I'm not comfortable with the side effects of this medication. I'm not comfortable with the function of this medication. Can you please prescribe me something else? There are many to choose from. I was initially put on a medication that's very common. It's called metformin, but it affected my digestive system so badly that I couldn't leave the house. I couldn't leave the vicinity of the washroom. It was terrible. It was horrible. And so I stopped taking it and I said, okay, do you have something else? And they did. Okay. So please don't think that you just have to take the thing that was prescribed to you because it was prescribed. There are so many different medications. Doctors try this, try that, and it's based on your feedback whether or not you continue with that medication. Okay, so there's that. So the medications that I am currently on are two. One is very famous. It's very controversial. It's called Ozempic. And Ozempic was designed to be a diabetic medication to lower your blood sugar. And and weight loss is apparently a side effect. Just so you know, I have not noticed a dramatic weight loss with it. Anybody who is around me can assure you that I'm telling the truth. I don't know if it's going to help me lose a lot of weight. But the important thing is, don't depend on your medications to do the job that your good habits need to be doing. Okay, so while I'm allowing medication to control my blood sugar, I am learning to control my food intake so that I don't need medication to control my blood sugar. But in the meantime, I didn't want my organs to be eroded. So I'm on Ozempic and I'm on another medication called Jardiance. Jardiance is a diabetic medication. Jardiance, my doctor keeps telling me, it protects your heart. I'm not exactly sure how it protects my heart, because when I read up on it, it says Jardiance protects your heart. Okay, so there'll be more research into that if I can find anything that more clearly explains the how. And what else Jardiance does, it lowers your blood sugar by flooding your system with fluids, like from your body. It takes fluids and it washes the sugar out, and so you pee a lot. So please drink more. And the more you control your eating, and this is what I'm finding with the Jardiance, the more I cut out carbs, the less I'm peeing, because the less blood sugar, the less excess blood sugar I am causing in my body. So don't rely on the medications to do the whole job. Allow the medications to be a tool in your toolkit as you learn better habits. That's so important, because one thing I read about Ozempic, because there's a lot of fear, oh, it's not safe. There are a lot of risks associated with taking Ozempic, but there are more risks associated with long-term use of Ozempic. And from what I have gathered, if you're taking it between it's apparently around the 2-year mark that those risks go up. So my goal is to aim for 18 months, and then from 18 months to the 2-year mark, get off it. And by then, I better have my act together, because then it'll be on me to maintain healthy blood sugar, to maintain healthy insulin use in my body. So that's my goal. At this point, I've been on Ozempic for about 4 months, 3 to 4 months. So I have some time ahead of me, and I'm working hard to get my act together to learn how to eat properly to keep myself healthy. And the Jardiance says the same thing. I've told my doctor that my goal is to get off the medication. And she said, well, you're going to need it for the rest of your life. I said, we'll see. My goal is this. And if I am not able to get off the medication because, and by that I mean because my blood sugar shoots up again, that's on me. My goal is to make myself healthy. So an update, I filled in my journal. I filled in each time I walk. I fill in how long I walk. And I got my results of my recent blood work. And when you're dealing with diabetes, get the blood work done. Your A1C is what you check on every 3 months, and it gives you an average. And that's really the important number, because you're going to go up and down. But when you see every 3 months what's going on, that's the one that you can really follow. But if you want to check your blood regularly, like daily, like your doctor will probably recommend, do it. Because that way you get a real-time reading on how what you just ate affected your blood sugar. And that will encourage you what you should put on the diet more often and what really needs to be taken off the plate. So I do recommend the testing. It's a good idea. And actually, I'm going to talk to my doctor about that next time I go, because right now I'm just doing the 3-month A1C. Now, to give you an idea of how things are going, in January, I had my test done, my blood work, and my A1C was 11.4. Now, that's too high, because what we want is to see an A1C of under 6. Under 7 for diabetics, but under 6 for healthy people. I think it's actually 5.5 and under for healthy people. So that's my goal. I want to read like a healthy person. When I just went for my blood work and I got the results back, my A1C had dropped already from 11.4 to 8.2. So you can see I have bridged half the gap back to a healthy blood sugar level. So I'm very excited. And also the doctor was concerned because my cholesterol numbers were a little high. And so she wanted to put me on cholesterol medication. And she said it's really important when when you've got diabetes, because of the way it affects your organs and your cardiovascular system, you don't want to mess around with high cholesterol or high blood pressure. Now, I don't have high blood pressure, so I refuse to take blood pressure medication. I don't believe in taking medication that I don't actually need. So she couldn't argue with me there because my blood pressure is fine. But I didn't want to argue with her about the cholesterol because I'm not trying to play games with my health. However, I wanted to see if maybe just the way that I eat, if I could clean that up a little bit, and if my cholesterol numbers would be better. Now, on my test in January, on my lab report, my cholesterol numbers were in bold because they were out of range. Not wildly out of range, but they were out of range. This time when I got my blood work done, my cholesterol numbers were back in range. And don't tell my doctor, but I haven't taken any of the cholesterol medication. Now, let me tell you why I don't take the cholesterol medication. I did start to take it. I tried it because I said I would, but this particular cholesterol medication, I was in so much pain in my legs, especially, that it was getting hard for me to walk. And when I went back to the doctor and I said, what's going on here? Why am I in so much pain? And she admitted to me, and I had looked this up, so I had a heads up on it, that this cholesterol medication called Rosuvastatin, or I don't know, something like that. Anyway, it can cause aches and pains, muscle aches and pains. And I asked her why that is. And she said, because this medication interferes with enzymes in your muscles, causing the aches and pains. Now, I submit to you, if being more active also lowers cholesterol, then how is it beneficial if you're taking a medication that is practically rendering you immobile? I was in so much pain. I couldn't go for walks. I couldn't be active. So I traded the medication for just being more active. And my cholesterol numbers have come back down within the range that we want them to be. So I'm not telling you to stop taking medication. I'm telling you, look into it and do the things that are right for you. Now I go for walks. I jump around. I do things that probably at my age I don't really need to be doing. And yet at my age, I need to be doing them because I want to be healthy. So let's summarize today. I don't want to make these videos long and drawn out and boring. Research your medication. If you don't like the side effects that could come with your medication, or you don't like the function of the medication, then ask your doctor for something else and be specific. You're allowed to be. It is your body. It is your health. Now, what do I mean by function of medication? There are some diabetes medications that work to lower the blood sugar, and that's their function. Jardiance lowers blood sugar. There are other medications that work to increase insulin production. Those medications work on the pancreas, on the mast cells in the pancreas, to force them to create more insulin. Now, chances are what's happening to your body isn't necessarily that you're not making enough insulin overall. It's that your body is resistant to the effects of the insulin. And so it looks like you don't have enough insulin because it's not doing its job. But what you need to do is, again, do your research. Don't take my word for it. But what I would recommend is create an environment in your body where your body is able to make use of the insulin that you make. Cut the carbs, drink water, eat protein. Some people go to a carnivore diet and they find that that works. Some people find that a keto diet is their preference. And some people find somewhere in between, which is named, what do we call it? Ketovore. That's kind of a mix between carnivore and keto. Keto allows vegetables and other non-meat products, whereas a carnivore diet is strictly animal-based products. So choose which one works better for you. Try a combination, but whatever you do, cut the carbs. And if you're eating a higher fat, higher protein diet, which is the carnivore diet, you have got to stay away from the carbs because that will throw off your efforts and you'll just gain weight, and that it defeats the purpose of what you're actually trying to do here. So watch what you eat, research different methods of eating. Dr. Joel Fuhrman, he has a completely different idea about how to eat. His eating plan is he calls it nutritarian, which is focusing on nutritious food. And there are some carbs, there are some vegetables, and he doesn't believe in eating much meat. He says to use meat as a garnish. Now, that's completely away from a carnivore diet, but Dr. Fuhrman's diet also is effective. So pick the one that suits you best. Pick the one that you can stick to. That's the key. Consistency is how you will make the journey back to health. Get your journal, chart your way back. And I'm going to put a couple of books in the description below this video. One is by Dr. Jason Fung. It's the Diabetes Code. He's also written a book called The Obesity Code, which you'll notice similarities in title because it's quite often our lack of weight control through the way that we eat. And it's not necessarily that we don't know anything. It's because we have been taught the incorrect way. So I'm not going to get into all that. That was in the last video. Dr. Jason Fung, The Diabetes Code. Dr. Joel Fuhrman, The End of Diabetes. And there's YouTubers out there. There's Dr. Ken Berry, Dr. Eric Berg, Dr. Sten Ekberg. There's Health Coach Kate. I'm going to put links to their channels below this. I'm Linda. I'm Linda Todd. I'm on this journey with you. Come with me. Let's do this together. We can be a team and we can help each other find our way back to good health, peace, and stay tuned. There's going to be more of these coming. I'm just looking for there we are. And I'm out. Like and subscribe, share this. We want to get everybody on this journey so we can all make our way back to health. You have a great day, and I'll see you on the next video.